Hello and good morning to everybody. My name is Bobby Richardson. These are my ascension messages from my guides and me. Welcome. So today we are going live through Zoom. I am practicing going live through Zoom so that I can get this right. So I'm just going to channel some messages through though. And some of the messages that are coming through are to do with the pineal gland and our protection and so forth. So I'll get into those in a minute. But until then, don't forget I've got the chat bar open. So if you ever want to see me live and converse in the chat bar, it's all go now. I'm really excited that I've got all that sorted out. Hey Vanda, good to see you. And Diana. Okay, so first up, bit of housekeeping. My master classes are coming along really well. I'm like 3/4 of the way through the third master class. I've got 4 of them coming up, which you can purchase once they're all finished. And that is all to do with how to clear the mind, balance the mind. This is everything that I've been taught by my guides throughout all these years, and how to channel. So we can start to introduce channeling into our reality, which would be so cool when everybody starts to do this, because then telepathy becomes a thing and we don't have to worry about lying and deceiving and all that sort of stuff, because it's all out in the open, right? So much more that can come from that as well. It's like one of the first biggest gifts that humanity is going to be gifted, because it was one of the ones that got taken away from us when we had the fall in Babylon. And that's why they call it Babylon, because we started to introduce the speaking, which is, that's when you can like deceive, right? Because it's an outward communication and you can be thinking something different. Any case, that aside, I also had a beautiful video that I just produced to help through this transition period with the eclipse happening at the moment. And it's all to do with focusing on what we want to create in this world, instead of hooking into their fair games. And, let's just let that go. And what I'm going to do is, at the end of this video, while I'm still live, I'm going to have a practice run, because I couldn't find the sound button for the videos when I did the 2-hour long live. So after this, I will, if you haven't seen it, you can keep watching, and it's only a few minutes long, and I'll see if it all works and I can find that sound button. Hey Sky, good to see you, Cherie and Linda. Okay, so the big eclipse happened yesterday, right? Or yeah. And I mean, it's just a transit that happens in the sky in the end, but the energy that surrounds it, the energy that's morphing around it, and how we can connect to that energy is a big deal. It could just be a passing, eclipse to some people, because they don't really tap into the energy of it, or it can really have an effect on you, especially if you're empathic, because you're already feeling into these changes that are happening. And so it can actually affect your life and your decision making and everything. But that aside, I want to bring up some of the stuff that they were teaching me. I'm going to do a couple of little fun things here. So I'll put up a picture. I'm going to try to read something off a word that I've got on my computer. These are the little things. I'm just going to test it out. But the information that came through is so cool, about dragons and our third eye. I really love it. So we'll share the screen. We'll put this picture up, see if this all works. This is all me learning as we're going, so please be patient with me a bit. Share screen for that one. So we'll just have the picture going up. Hopefully this works. And then I was going to just read off I don't know if this will work though. Maybe you guys can tell me. Can you just see the picture? Or can you see my word is wow? That would be really good if you can tell me if you can, anyway. Tell me after, because I can't even get to the chat bar at the moment. Okay, let's go into some of this information that I received on the 3rd of April. So this is called the dragon and the third eye. You're either going to see the picture or the writing. It doesn't really matter. But I'm just trying to figure out how to do this. Everything within us is manifested outside of us, our fears, our desires, and the magic. That which was hidden can only be awoken by taming the dragon's energy within us as it curls around the pineal gland to protect our magic. But once we tame the dragon or our power, we can open ourselves up to the magic within the pineal gland, bringing us an abundant life full of treasures and gifts galore. It was really interesting when I was channeling that through, they were showing me fairy tales, and they were saying that, you know, we have animal life and that, and we have a lot of stories about wolves and lions and animals that are actually in our reality. But there were those animals that were hidden from us because the energy didn't match anymore, because we had gone beyond the veil of those animals manifesting in our reality because we hadn't found them within us. And it was so interesting. They were saying that the unicorn represents the pineal gland. There's an innocence about it. There's that you know, horn that's right in the center. That's like a connection to magic, to wisdom. So, and being able to, like, I think in fairy tales you touch it and then some magical thing can happen. And then there was the dragon they brought up. The dragon's energy is the powerful energy that we have within us that we can tame, where we are so in balance with ourselves that we know how to direct that power to protect the innocence of ourselves in a way, in a manner that's conducive to us living in these higher frequencies. And in the fairy tales now, because it's all, you know, kind of distorted a bit, but still a reflection, the dragons will curl themselves around gold and so forth, and treasures and that. But really, the dragon's supposed to be curled around the innocence, an innocent child, protecting the innocent child. And it's because the dragon represents that energy. If we do find it and we find that innocence within ourselves, we are abundant. We have all the treasures we want in our world. We can create the reality that we really desire. So it's really interesting how they folded that, and this is where the elementals come in, the energy of the dragons and the unicorns coming back into our reality. But, you know, we all call them make-believe, right? This is where I started to write this bit. There's a reason why the magical stories of unicorns and dragons are still present, because they are the keepers of our inner magic, kept under the guise of make-believe. But as humanity awakens to their power and clears the mind enough to bring one into harmony within, they will automatically awaken their own power, and with it the magic held within the pineal gland, which is also an antenna to much more wisdom, just as the horn on the unicorn is. The dragon, I feel, is the ability to tame the energy flowing through the corpus callosum, or bridge between our two hemispheres, just as it was in my vision quest. And I have talked about my vision quest before and what happened there, because I ended up being able to go through the pineal gland, even though it's coming from a warring zone. I was one of the lucky ones to be able to get this information so I can relay it to you guys about learning to still the mind so that we can now change the stories. And I was on a bridge, and this little innocent boy came up and started to show me this, because I was shown by this innocent boy, which represented my own childlike innocence, who has the power to still that which needed taming. This is when we can harness the energy to still one's mind and manifest abundance through changing our reality from the inside out, instead of relying on others to dictate and control our worlds, right? Stop sharing. So, yeah, so that was, I'll get rid of that. And I'll get rid of that. Now I can see the chat bar. You can see the writing. Okay, well, okay, but that didn't work. Okay, it doesn't matter anyway. Just trying a few things out. So I'm learning as I'm going, and that's another thing they said. Just throw yourself in the deep end and learn as you go with the technical stuff. Like even with you guys, we're learning how to ground a lot more of our wisdom, like ground our abundance, ground our magic. But to do that, sometimes we need to also tap into that logical side and work out how to do the technical side of things as well, which is held in our memory banks after a while. Gosh. Any case. So yeah, that was really interesting when they were bringing up how the fairy tales and that were also a great reflection of ourselves. Like if you really think about it, things like Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, they fell asleep. Why did they fall asleep? Because the right hemisphere was like had literally fallen asleep. My guides used to show me, imagine if you had a bug and it was flying straight, and then someone caught it and then put a sleeping tonic in one of the wings. What would happen to that bug? It would just keep going round and round and round and round in circles. And literally, this is what humanity's consciousness has been doing, chasing its own tail, going round in circles, trying to shift the story. Can't shift the story because it doesn't want to think outside the box. It only wants to have this kind of compartmentalized understanding of what reality is. And so it never stretches its imagination because it needed the right hemisphere to do that. And that's where this magical stuff is. So in our fairy tales, we ended up having Snow White going to sleep. Cinderella. And also chasing that logical mind, wishing for the love of the logical mind. And that's because the logical mind, or our masculine side of ourselves, needs to agree with our feminine side of ourselves for us to ground the magic. So the logic loves to hold on to things that it knows is true and it knows is in our outside reality as the material world. But our feminine side taps into stuff that's beyond what the logic can understand, because it hasn't been grounded yet. So it can tap into the soul's lineage of all of this understanding and magic of where the soul has been before this life, before we come into this program. And so if you wanted to ground some of that magic, then you have to ask, literally get your logical mind to say yes. Otherwise, you're just this airy-fairy person saying all this stuff out in the world and saying, I can fly and I've been doing this and all of that. And everyone's like, yeah, I don't believe you, because the logical mind, even in those people that are doing that, doesn't really believe it either, but they are knowing that they felt it. And so they bring it to the reality, and then they seem like that airy-fairy kind of thing. But now is the time, through this eclipse and this new energy that's coming present for us, to be able to ground a lot more of this magic. And this magic could be that we could learn how to still our mind enough to find balance within ourselves, to change the stories. And if we change the stories, and we make, things different in our outside, when we start to say, what, I have had an experience of telekinesis where I moved something. I want to move more into that line of field, and then you can ask the logical mind to come with you. And if you start to believe it logically as well as intuitively, if you start to believe it, then you can actually manifest that in this reality, because reality is everything possible. It's really just the program that has held us bound into this into these limitations. And we needed the limitations, otherwise we would be in this dreamlike land, and we wouldn't have the story that goes through it all, which is really what source energy, or God itself, writing through you, wants to experience. It wants to experience this really cool lineal story. But it's so out of balance that humanity got stuck. So life after life, they come back into the fear game, and they looked outside themselves for leadership, because they had dismissed the part of themselves or the feminine side that could connect to source energy, God itself. And that's where spirituality became religion. So religion is just a compartmentalized process of our actual spiritual side. And yet spirituality is half of who we are. It's just that when we shut that side of us down, that intuitive side of knowing that we're source energy and we're the creator of our reality, we started to try to find a storyline that would go with, compartmentalized it, and then we programmed it with all these rules and regulations of how you can achieve it. And so it ended up becoming this stagnant kind of rule-based spirituality, and which we call religions. I'm not poo-pooing all religions. There's a lot of truths in religions. I actually am one to go into all sorts of different religions and go, oh wow, that's something that I feel is for real. And then there's other things that just push us back and keep us in this guilt process of not being able to move forward, which is what the logical mind is trying to safeguard us. And also those that were in charge of the religions wanted to keep somebody lower than them so that they could feel special, because they never felt really special within themselves and knowing their own source energy within themselves. So yes, that took a turn. Didn't expect that to take a turn into religion and everything. So yeah, just let me know too if everything's going good. You can hear me and all of that sort of stuff in the chat bar. I'm always a little bit worried after that 2-hour live that things went a bit squiff and we couldn't hear me and couldn't hear the videos and so forth. So it'd be nice to know that everything's kosher. Let's see what else they want to bring in about the third eye as well. I'm going to bring up a lot more of this stuff in the masterclasses too. So I channeled through a lot for the masterclasses in the end, especially on the third eye, on the pineal gland. I'm seeing what else they bring in. Thanks, Mary, for letting me know that. I'll just hold on to my little crystal. So the energies at the moment, being that we're in massive transition, oh my gosh, you can literally create the world that you desire now. Literally can do that, but that you can only do that coming from a balanced mind. You will just keep falling back into old patterns if you let your ego, it's really just your logical mind tell the story, because the logical mind can't see past the veil. But that's where the pineal gland starts to spark open. Because within the pineal gland, being that, that's interesting. Okay, so we see through 2 eyes. So we ended up seeing a 3-dimensional world through our 2 eyes here, physical eyes. When we bring in the third eye, which is the pineal gland, we see into many different dimensional realities. And that's where a lot more of the wisdom is. And it will come down to the collective energy of humanity saying what they want. And it could be that we move into, as that logical mind falls, or the dictatorship falls, control mechanism that's put in place at the moment, when that starts to fall, we could end up in pockets of some people using some of that, not afraid to use some of the wisdom that we've learned throughout the hundreds of years of the technical side of things, and then others that are more conducive to living straight with Earth, with Mother Earth. So there's going to be shifts and changes where pockets of people come collectively together and decide, yes, this feels right for me. This is what I'm going to ground. A lot of the star seeds, those that come from specific planets, those that work together, because there's planets that work together as well, can easily form another collective together and ground even more magic into this reality by doing the shadow work, the rebalancing of themselves, opening up the pineal gland, connecting to their wisdom, the ancestors that are coming through with unbelievable knowledge, they're saying. Unbelievable wisdom that some of the collectives that go together, maybe more those that knew the magic of the witches and the wizards and stuff, they might form another group over there that start to do the spells between Mother Earth and themselves, and learning all about the magic and the wisdom of the herbal energies and stuff like that. So you can see where there's going to be these different pockets of energy, and they can converse, they can share, they can collaborate, they can go in and out of these different. Nobody would be nobody in those higher frequencies would be told, no, you're part of that clan, you're not allowed to come. That's not how it works. It is, if you're part of it, you're part of it. You're meant to learn the lesson in that moment, and then you might move on to another fraction, another person's another collective's reality. Yeah, but going back to that dragon energy, that is us learning. When we learn to still the mind, we also are learning to control our chemical releases from our brain, and that flushes through our body and opens up things. And when those chemical releases, the peptides and all that within your body are conducive with cells that are asking for more wisdom and magic, and exploring parts of the body that hasn't really been touched in that magical understanding yet, they will be flushed with the more happier vibe chemicals coming through. Endorphins? I'm not sure. I'm not a scientist. I'm literally listening to what they're saying. Endorphins. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So you guys can look it up, and then those chemicals, because they're coming from more balance, and then you have more souls looking for more happiness, more cells within your body looking for more happiness. Then those chemicals can connect and then bring in a better understanding of self, because everything when it's happy is relaxed, and when things are relaxed, like your body is relaxed, it's more open to new frequencies. It's more feeling safe within itself. So there's a safetyness, self-support just through being happier within oneself, as well as because of that, then the wisdom can flow through us, because we're no longer in resistance or angry or fearful or judgmental. The jealousy is now, because we are becoming who we really truly wanted. There's no jealousy, because we know we're all individually unique and needed in this world for the magic that we bring in. And if you ever felt jealous about somebody that's outside of you, it's just that you really want to align with what they have created in their world, but you're not sure if you can do it. So the jealousy starts to arrive. But if you were like more of, you know what, I can learn from this person in this moment of my life, don't ever hold on to anything. Even when I met the Cherokee elder, a few years there where I was learning a lot from her, but then after a few years, I'm like, I have to go into my own power. I have to figure this out for myself. I have to see me as the power that she sees me, because I wasn't seeing me as the power that she saw me as. And so I had to move away from her for a while. And even now, I still feel the need to move on with my life without her. I can easily go join in again. I've actually been asked to join in again recently. So but I still feel just at the moment it's not quite there. I'm nearly there though. I want to step back in reflecting her reflecting to her the power that I know I am, that she sees in me. So it's an interesting that they, it's not that we want to like take one person and go, that's it, that's the person I'm going to follow for the rest of my life. It could be many years. It could be the rest of your life that you end up learning a lot from them, but don't close the door on anything or anyone else either. And the higher frequencies, we just go with where we feel the happiest and our heart's excited about learning and that sort of thing. Yeah, so that's really cool. Sarah, good to see you and glad you caught me live. So yeah, so the energies that's present at the moment with this eclipse and everything going on is really an opening for those that are wanting to change their life up, change the story. And if you're going on a journey within your own life and you're like, well, I don't know how to change this story, then I would suggest going back into oneself, finding the central balance of yourself and just going, okay, I'm bringing all my energy back. All the stories, I'm just ignoring all the stories, bringing all my energy back, and then say, I'd like to shift this, and maybe shift something small that the logical mind can agree with, or something a little bit out of the logical mind's, thinking, oh, I don't know if this could happen. Just try something small and go, you know what? I'm not going to give the negative side of that story any attention. I'm going to use my energy or my mind throughout the day to keep catching myself. If I do find myself thinking negative about that story, catch yourself. Don't get down on yourself, because that's just going to bring you into a negative energy anyway. But catch yourself and go, yeah, but remember the story that I'm going for, the story that I'm really turning into. And that's not, don't try to change somebody else's reality. That's up to them to find their own game, but you can align yourself. So for instance, your partner and you aren't working at the moment, you can't change them to come up with you. That's up to them. But you can direct your life to saying, well, I do deserve this in my reality. So I'm going to bring that through other people in this moment, and whoever aligns with me will have that sort of energy and frequency. And watch who you start to converse with and how your story starts to change. And away from people that are giving you the hard yard lessons, and into the people that want to create a really cool world. That's different. Yeah, so use this energies at the moment just to play around with your story and what part of your story do you want to change. Say you want to learn how to do tarot or something like that, and you've never ever in the past been able to really get into it. Or just keep on imagining yourself as this amazing tarot feel into the imagination will take you so far, but it's the feeling you want to get to. So if you're imagining something and it's just like an observational story and you're not really getting into the feeling of it, then it's probably not going to work, because it's our feelings that direct our outside world to come back at us. So when we see ourselves as a proficient tarot reader and we feel into it and what they would feel like, and we get excited about it and all of that sort of stuff. Same with abundance coming in. Say, for instance, you never want to worry about bills anymore, and somehow or rather bills just, it's just paid for easy and you don't even have to worry about them anymore, that sort of thing. Because the more that you focus in on, oh my God, it's another bill, oh my God, and see the body all tenses up, and then the reality is like, oh, it's just sort of like comes back at you of that's your expectation. And so that's what you end up having. And then you have more. If you've ever had some story in your head, right, that you're like, I'm never going to tell that person that story. I'm going to keep it to myself. That story is a personal story and I'm not telling them. And you keep on saying that to yourself. As soon as you meet them, bleh, all of a sudden you start telling them the story, and you're like, in your head's going, I swear I wasn't going to. But that's because your focus has been on, it's not the not telling the story, it's just the story. It's the story that you're focused on. Whether you put a not in front of it, I'm not going to, does not make any difference. So the universe and the way that we work with our reality is what you focus on, you start to create. And that's where they want us to flip this out of the program that's been pulled over our eyes of. That's why they keep coming up with a whole fear game. The eclipse is going to be something to be afraid of. We're doing this, hello, over here, and we're doing that, and we're going to turn on the sun, and we're going to do this, and everything's going to change, and da, 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 da. You guys are going to be afraid. Oh, my God. That's why they do that. They literally just want you to focus in on the problems that could arise, and anything's possible. So they don't care what we bring up in this reality, so long as it keeps us contained in this fear-based reality, and they can keep our imagination and our feeling base in fear. If they do that, they're holding humanity hostage. That's how they hold humanity hostage. So through this eclipse and the reawakening, and so many of us have done the shadow work and realized our power within us, we are starting to bleed out into other people's realities and say, hey, look over here. You don't have to think about all of the negative, horrible things and start creating that, because they're using you to focus on it to create the worst scenario. You can start using your own imagination and your own focus to focus on, creating a beautiful world, which is why I brought up the video in my latest video. My guides wanted me to bring that up just before the eclipse to get people to focus on what can we create in this world. Now that we know all of this about the logical side and all of this about our intuitive side coming in, what can we create? Remembering also, they said that things like AI and robots and stuff like that are all only logical based, and their wisdom comes from only the perceived information that they can handle from a very logical based material world. So, tapping into the internet and getting information and all that sort of stuff. And then where a soul can go beyond that, way beyond that. So those that have souls can easily shift the story out of the story of where the AI will take it, because AI is just like, it's like the overbearing logical mind has come to its fruition, and that's what's created in our world is that AI. It's like the pinnacle of the logical mind being in charge, and what a fear-based reality we're going to go into, because it's over protecting. So when we step into our soul, we're like, well, anything is possible. So that means, just like a virus can go through a human, viruses can go through AI and the internet and so forth. And when we come into the ability or capacity to be able to communicate through being channeling and telepathy, which is why I'm bringing up the masterclasses, right? Then we are way above all of that. That is something they can't tap into. And so it ends up that we create a story outside of their story. So you can see where this is going. Like, anything is possible. It's not what they're telling us. But we have to take our imagination and our intuition, our connection to our heart, our desires to expand back without fear, because source energy just wants to expand into more and more, and wants to ground more love through humanity's consciousness into this reality, so it can be more present. And when it's more present, there's more magic as well, so we can create really cool grounded stuff here. the housing and all that. It doesn't have to be the square boxes anymore. We can create the round circle housing and and yes, we might use machinery or something to do that. Or we could end up just using our minds if we really get great with being able to manifest in real time. But there's nothing wrong with anything so long as it's not going into fear or disharmony. So if you're going to collaborate with Mother Earth and put a building somewhere, then you want to go into that space and ask Mother Earth, would you mind if I put my building here? This feels right. And even if you don't get an answer so cool, but you feel right, it feels right, that is enough. I know when I was taking photographs of Mount Coolum for my book, and I came back and then started to distort Mount Coolum, I got this feeling. It was like don't do that. And I live right next to the mountain. And I'm like, okay, I erased all the work that I did, went back up there, got another image, asked her what I wanted, and I got the image that I wanted of two holding hands in the rock face, even though, because my book was called Holding Hands, and I didn't know what was going to come out. I just let it go. I said, I just want magic to come out of these images. So that's what I mean by we learn to work together with Mother Earth, with the land, with the trees, with everything. Something doesn't want to be cut down, don't cut it down. If something does, then let it flourish. But we're still got to, Earth likes it when we tidy up our area. That's why you have bugs and all that sort of stuff. They tidy up their area. They make it, conducive for their own living standards so that germs and that don't come into their reality. There's nothing wrong with tidying up your area. And if some bugs and that need to, die in the process because they're in the wrong place, well, that's the bug maybe wanted to die so that it could actually become a butterfly in its next life. It's still source energy going on a journey. And we see it from a different perspective. It's not like, oh my God, doom and gloom, life and death. We feel that way because we've been taught to be a fear of a process of changing from this body to the next body, or this body into the ether, and learning from the observational point of the etheric realm. So yeah, I will put this video up. Hopefully this works. Now I'm going to try to find the sound button and see if this all works, because they said that there's a sound button. So I can't tell unless I do it live. So I'm going to have a go, but there's a mute button there. But that's for my thing. Okay, that's for my mic. I can see it going up and down when I speak. This is going to be interesting. You might have no sound again with the video. Let's see, and I don't know if I can see the chat bar to get the information from you guys either. Let's have a crack. Share screen. Okay, and I'll bring up the video. Okay, so we've got the video. That one. That one. Now, okay, I'm looking for a sound button. I'm making sure that it's all going to go sound waves. I cannot see a sound button. Oh, maybe it's up the top there. No. More. Share computer sound. Ah, I think I found it. I think I found it. Let me know. I've got the chat bar up too, so this is pretty cool. If you can actually see. Can you guys hear this? Not much sound at the moment. We are both the creator and the creation. Yay! Thank you, Vanda.
As source energy moves through us to experience, we become the gods of creation. There is nothing wrong with humanity other than not taking back our power and responsibility as creators. There is nothing that isn't its own creator. Every animal, every plant, every planet, and every star are all extensions of Prime Creator. But humanity feels so out of balance by only looking outside itself for confirmation that this gave others authority and power over them, insisting that humanity needed others to guide them instead of their own intuition, truth, and virtue. When we see ourselves as the extension of Prime Creator or God, we can put our wisdom and actions to use in creating the very place on earth that feels absolutely delightful for us as Prime Creators to experience. We create utopia on earth as we understand then that we are both the creator and the creation. Prime Creator doesn't just want to survive. God wants us all to thrive, as we will be doing ourselves and Prime Creator a great justice by creating anything that makes our lives desirable on earth. Just as parents would feel so proud of their children creating a wonderful, happy life for themselves, so too would Earth also love to see the beauty her children can create with her. Together we can learn to listen to each other and create a marvelous world that our souls would love to play in.
Yay! Hang on. Yay, I'm so happy that the sound went on. Okay, I've got to remember how to do that. So yeah, that was my latest video that I just produced. So if you ever want to see more of my stuff, I have absolutely hundreds of videos of channel messages. There's even messages, a whole heap that were straight from ONENESS. This is before I knew that I could connect to the CYANIANS, and then there's the co-creators, Codes to a New Creation series that I've created as well. And that was my very first channeling that happened way back, like 3 years ago, way back. So love you guys heaps. I think we could do a bit of, no, you know what? I'm not doing tarot because I'm going to do full-on tarot on Thursday. And I think we'll ask a big question on Thursday. See where we're all going, right? And then I'll use my tarot deck there. But Guys, thanks for joining me in the chat bar and being part of this until Thursday when I go live. And look out for those masterclasses. If you want to know a little bit more about them, go on my website, codestoanewreality.com. And the link is down below. Also, I am an intuitive counselor and reader, so I can help you, guide you on your life path if you want, and have a one-on-one Zoom reading with me. That's also on my website. So go there. Okay. Love you guys. Bye.